This is a James Poeartistry consultant moment. Hello, perceptive readers. This is a James Poeartistry consultant moment. Here is something to think about today, okay? I've talked about how we mind our own business. And it doesn't mean human beings are not interested, you see, in each other's welfare. That's how we find out in just our everyday efforts of love, which I would even say proactive goodness. That's how sometimes we find out about serious situations that we were not even looking for or even to look down upon someone. You see what I'm talking about? I've, seen at times where even living your life in that mind your own business type of manner, that because you're keeping your heart protected in that way, then guess what? When serious matters actually really happen or are going on, whether it's family or even your neighbors, then even the true God in heaven, yes, the true God in heaven at times will then inform you in the way that he wants to inform you. And it's not because you were actually going against what he states in his word about minding your own business and not encroaching upon the rights of others. You see, I've seen it. I've seen it. Now, with that being said, this is what I want to tell you about persons who at times, are overly nosy. To be that inquisitive, to be that nosy into somebody's life, oh, make no mistake about it. A person has to ignore what God's word says about such things in the book of Ephesians and James and other areas, even going back to the Hebrew scriptures or the Old Testament. So it goes to show it doesn't matter to them what God feels in this area. And so in order to keep breaking on that level God's principles, then they are going to break the other areas of encroaching upon a person's life, being presumptuous and things of that nature. Now, what happens when they become that presumptuous? Well, they take liberties of another person's life, some of these ones. They take liberties. They become even saboteurs, all the while because their thinking has got maybe a little off, you see, in some cases, not even seeing the damage that they're doing to that person's life. But guess what? In some cases, even the damage to themselves, far beyond the extraordinary nosiness that they have. You see, there's actually been times where persons have become so overly nosy and so presumptuous in what they involve themselves in with this person or that person's business or life. You know what ends up happening? They get into situations where it's like all the while the person that they were overstepping boundaries and taking liberties, who has nothing ill towards them at all as far as feelings, it still becomes, because of their own existence, that when matters get so out of hand, that yes, depending on what the business situation is, what the legal situation is, it could be like the person who is still just trying to exist and live their life, their very existence becomes an obstacle to the ones who already usurped this other person's right to life, to exercise their freedoms, their citizenship, and things of that nature. Now, here it is, I mentioned this without giving specific examples, but I mostly have some that I could use. And see, and that goes into the other area of consulting that I want to assure you on. There's been many things I've shared with you perceptive reader or readers over the years that it may even cause you to think that, man, uh, would he keep this a secret? Will he keep this apology a secret, or that apology, or what have you, or this information secret? And this is what I'm going to continue to share with you. Remember, in my experience, confidentiality was of the utmost importance. See, and that's why, I continue to emphasize to you all when I talk about, you shouldn't be this nosy, you shouldn't be this presumptuous, or what have you, because the very things that some of you have gained a lot of value from, what the reality still may be to some of you when it comes to a lot of the confidential talk and experience that I have, it still may be less than 10% or even 1% of what I could probably really share with you that's confidential. But of course, I wouldn't. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, I very much know how to keep confidential talk and secrets. I very much so. So with that being said, I want you to also know that people in their nosiness at times, and this is how they build cases even against you, because they're still seeing you go through a certain situation or being in this type of environment, and they're projecting all on your mind, where what they think that you're thinking, what you're gathering from the situation, what your own conclusion would be on this matter or that matter, and you're not thinking that at all. And see, that's what I want to emphasize as well. I've seen situations where persons will hear about this, know a person was in this building or that place or what have you, and they really didn't know why the person was there, or what the person was doing, or why they were actually, you see what I'm saying, having this type of interaction with this individual. So they go on ahead and they'll even relate the environment, but the substance of still what was going on behind the scenes and this and that, you see, they went on ahead and projected their own thoughts on the matter. And come to find out, you see at times that it was their own conclusion or projection certainly wasn't the person who was in the experience. You see, I will just give you one example that sometimes this is what happens in investigations. Okay. So I'm not going to go any more into that. But what I'm going to continue to emphasize to you, and I started with that, the way that you live your life every day anyway, of minding your own business and protecting your heart in this way or that way. I told you some of these situations that you end up becoming a part of or involved at times, it is because the true God in heaven knows that you are going to look at this situation in the correct way in the first place and not project this or project that. Or at the very least, you are going to be balanced and let this person still state their case. State their case, if you will, even in court. and not be persuaded by all the slanderous talk that may be against this or that individual. Why? Because they still know even that individual that now they're slandering is probably the one that has all the information of the skeletons in their closet that they just don't want to come out. This was a James Poeartistry consultant moment. Take care of yourself.